Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. We are doing my May review, so I'll talk a bit about how the month went and then I'll talk about the books. There's not much to say about the month, to be fair. Still in lockdown, still working from home, enjoying the sunshine, you know, the general stuff. I did some paintings which I'm proud of. My most recent one, which is my favourite one that I've painted, is the Spitfire, and that's pretty much it for May. Nothing's happening, still in lockdown. Yeah, I'm just glad it's sunny. Book-wise, I read 14 books in the month of May, and because of that, I'm going to be telling you about them a bit differently. Instead of telling you, like, reading the blurb and then telling you a little bit more about it, I'm just going to read the blurb and then give you my rating, and then if I feel like, and then for the big one, because I read a series, I'm going to tell you a little bit about some of the characters as well. Okay, so if I put this half down, if I can bend it down, down there, and we shall begin. So I'm going to be doing a lot of bending now. So the first book I read was The Fear Bubble by Ant Middleton. And it says, Ant Middleton is no stranger to fear. As a point man in the special forces, he confronted fear on a daily basis, never knowing what lay behind the next corner or the next closed door. In prison, he was thrust into the unknown, cut off from friends and family, isolated with thoughts of failure and dread for his future. And at the top of Everest, in desperate, life-threatening conditions, he was forced to face up to his greatest fear, leaving his wife and children without husband and father. But fear is not his enemy. It is the energy that propels him. Thanks to the concept of the fear bubble, Ant has learned to harness the power of fear and understands the positive force that it can become. Fear gives Ant his edge, allowing him to seek out life's challenges, whether that is at home, pushing himself every day to be the best father he can be, or stuck in the death zone on top of the world in a 90-mile-per-hour blizzard. In his groundbreaking new book, Ant thrillingly retells the story of his death-defying climb of Everest and reveals the concept of the fear bubble, showing how it can be used in our lives to help us break through our limits. So this one I gave a rating of 8.5 out of 10. I really loved his first book, which I can't remember what it's called. It's down there, but I can't see the title. I think it was like The First Man or something. But I really liked this one. I highly recommend it. It really opens you out. And like, I like books when they are giving you advice, but they use their own stories to help you understand it. And like, I've started to use the idea of the fear bubble in my life and everything, and I think it's helped me a lot. So I highly recommend it. I said 8.5 out of 10. It's a good read and I really enjoyed it. So there you go, The Fear Bubble. Okay, the next one I read is the series The House of Night. This is why I managed to read so many books. Some of these books I read in a day. I literally started them in the morning and read all through the night and finished them in a day. So I'm going to tell you throughout in the order. So the first one I've got is called Marked. And it says, when 16-year-old Zoe is marked by the tracker, she knows her old life is over. Now she has to leave her friends and family to join the House of Night school, where there's only one subject Zoe needs to study, Vampire 101. Of course, there's always a catch, and this one's nice and simple. If you fail, you die. So I gave this one a 8 out of 10. So I'm going to read through the blurbs and then tell you a little bit about the characters instead of about the story. So this one is called Betrayed. Things seem to be going pretty well for Zoe Redbird. She's settled in at the House of Night, finishing school, and is coming to terms with her incredible new powers. It all seems too good to be true, and guess what? Someone has begun murdering human teenagers, and all the evidence points to the vampires at Zoe's school, which means her first assignment as the leader of the Dark Daughters is finding out which one of her classmates, or GOLP, teachers is a killer. Sigh, and she thought her boyfriends, yes plural, were going to be her biggest problem this year. This one was 7 out of 10. Chosen. Zoe's best friend Stevie Ray is undead in an zombie kind of way, not in a cool vampire kind of way. She's struggling to retain her humanity, and Zoe doesn't have a clue how to help. But she does know that anything they discover must be kept secret. Unfortunately, trust has become a rare commodity. Sinister forces are at work at the House of Night, where the line between friend and enemy is becoming dangerously blurred. This one I think I quite enjoyed. No, this one won't go good. 6.5 out of 10. Okay, this one is Untamed. A week ago, Zoe had a group of special friends, 3 boyfriends, and kind of clear conscience. Now she has none of the above. Luckily, Ice Cream Aphrodite is showing signs of melting, and ex-roomie Stevie Ray isn't as dead as she'd thought. Though Stevie Ray is now hanging out in tunnels with freaks, totally gross, as soon as she can get them to listen, Zoe will need all her friends as events take a frightening turn to the House of Night School for Vampires. Shocking true intentions are about to come to light, loyalties will be tested, and an ancient evil is about to rise again. Some days, being special just doesn't seem all that. This one was 8.5 out of 10. Hunted. It's all happening though Zoe Redbird wishes it wasn't. She has her friends back, which is great, but a dark angel has taken over the House of Night, supported by High Priestess Neferet. I could never work out how to pronounce her name. Neferet? I think Neferet. Whenever I read a book, I change it every time because I just couldn't work out in my head how to pronounce it. Not so great. This leaves Zoe hiding out with the supposedly friendly red fledglings in the prohibited area tunnels. The not greatness continues. Naturally, Zoe also has boy issues to stress her out, with a chance to make up with super hot ex-Eric, but thoughts of her Archer that died semi-permanently in her arms keep distracting her. Then he shows up as Neferet's newest minion. Well, hell. Zoe and friends will need a plan to put things right soon if she can keep her head and her heart intact. This one I think is one that I read all day. This one is a 6 out, no, not a 6 out of 10. This is a 9 out of 10. I enjoyed this one. This one, Tempted. Dangerous secrets come between Zoe and Stevie Ray, putting the House of Night at great risk. Stevie Ray, with her super red vamp powers, thought she could handle keeping stuff from her BFF, but her latest secret is a big one. Zoe's left with trust issues while she needs her friends and boyfriends like never before. Zoe banished immortal Kelowna from Tulsa, but the battle is far from over. He now seeks power at the highest levels, and Vampire High Council is falling under his thrall. Without Zoe's help, the world could still burn in the fiery hell of Aphrodite's visions. And will Zoe's connection with Aya, a Cherokee maiden who tempted Kelowna in ages past, help or hinder her resistance to the dangerously seductive immortal? Two girls walk a tightrope between good and evil, and their choices will see everything they love saved or destroyed. This one was 8 out of 10. We're getting there. We're getting there. We're getting there. Burned. What did I give this one? 9 out of 10. Zoe Redbird is the youngest High Priestess in House of Night history and is the only person, an ample fledgling, who can stop the evil Neferet from raising all kinds of immortal trouble, and she might just have a chance if she wasn't so busy being dead. Well, dead is too strong of a word. Stevie Ray knows that she could bring her BFF back from her unscheduled vacay in the other well, but it's going to take a lot more than hoping to bring Zoe back. Stevie Ray might have to give up a few secrets of her own. So that one was 9 out of 10. Awakened. Exonerated by, I can't read this colour font, background very well, by the Vampire High Council and returned to a position of High Priestess that Tulsa's the House of Night. Neferet has sworn vengeance on Zoe, but Zoe has found sanctuary on the Isle of Skye and is being groomed by Queen Sigat to take over for her there. Being queen would be cool, wouldn't it? And what about Stevie Ray and Rephium? The Raven Mocker refuses to be used against Stevie Ray, but what choice does he have when no one in the entire world, including Zoe, would be okay with their relationship? Does he betray his father or his heart? What's this one? Awakened. This was 6 out of 10. That was kind of boring if I remember correctly. Yeah, that was quite boring. Destined. Zoe, what is it? Starts this off. Oh, here. I was reading the wrong part. Zoe is finally home where she belongs, safe with her guardian warrior Stark by her side and preparing to face off against Neferet, which would be a whole lot easier if the High Council saw the ex-High Priestess for what she really is. But there are new forces at work at the House of Night, and an influx of humans, including Lenovia's handsome horse whisperer, threatens its stability. And then there's the mysterious Aurochs, a jaw-droppingly gorgeous boy who is actually more or possibly less than human. Only Zoe can sense the part of his soul that remains human. The compassion that wars with his dark calling, and is something strangely familiar about him. Will Neferet's true nature be revealed before she succeeds in silencing them all? And will Zoe be able to touch Auroch's humanity in time to protect him and everyone else from his own fate? This one was 6.5. Hidden! We've only got 3 left. I'd known it before. I'm reading the wrong parts. At last, Zoe has what she wanted. The truth is out. Neferet, whatever you want to pronounce it, evil has been exposed and the High Council is no longer on her side, but she's far from done wreaking havoc in the vampire world. With the seeds of distrust sown and darkness breeding chaos at the House of Night, everyone must band together, but that's proven to be more difficult than ever before. Zoe knows that following her instincts might be just what they need to defeat evil, but what if it's wrong? It could cause the destruction of those closest to her. 8 out of 10. Bam! My tower fell. This one is 7.5 out of 10, which is revealed. Drastically altered from her fall, Neferet is clinging to life with one goal in mind, to regain the strength, but she's still capable of deadly harm, and the quest for vengeance will wreak havoc at the House of Night. To make matters worse, something's going on with Zoe. She's feeling strange and stressed all the time, which shouldn't be a surprise considering a powerful immortal is on the loose and she's having some boyfriend issues. Again. But there is something bigger at work. Z might not have long to find out. Light and darkness are out of balance, awakening old magic, and old magic always demands a sacrifice. And then the last one, which I gave a 9 out of 10, redeemed. Zoe Redbird is in trouble. She has surrendered herself to the police and isolated from herself from her friends and mentors, determined to face the punishment she deserves. Only the love of those closest to her can save her, but terrible evils emerge from the shadows, more powerful than ever. Nefriet has finally made herself known to the mortals. She is loose on Tulsa and enslaving its citizens to her will. The vampires of the House of Night are gathering every last resource they have, but without Zoe's ability to both summon the elements and wield all magic, can they possibly hope to vanquish darkness? In the final electrifying novel in the House of Night series, an epic battle of light versus darkness will decide who is redeemed and who is forever lost. That was hard to do. So, I enjoyed the series. I started off not really liking it because of the fact that I did not / still don't really like the main character, Zoe Redbird. So start off with, she seems like a good girl. Parts of her, part of her is a good character. But the other part is, I don't know if you guys even heard me talking because I was talking that quick, but she has loads of boyfriends. She has 3 boyfriends, 2 boyfriends, 3 boyfriends. She cheats, and that messes me up with how I feel with her. Like, she's very like, oh, I don't want to hurt them, but I don't want to leave them either. There's a hair floating. And she's a character that really, really annoys me. And honestly, when she died, I got super excited because then I had a bit of a break from her. But then, and once she returned from being dead, she did improve quite a bit. Stevie Ray, I really like. She's Zoe's best friend. She's like a country girl, cowboy, and she's just a really nice girl, very kind. She ends up falling in love with one of the enemies, the Ravenlockers, and she sees the goodness in him and helps him become to the side of the light instead of the side of darkness. Stark, who is the archer that gets introduced like halfway through the book, I love his character so much. I just spat. I absolutely love this character so much, and honestly I felt really sad when I finished the book because it meant I wouldn't be reading more about him. He is a great guy, he really cares about Zoe, and him and Zoe do end up together at the end, and he is really good with the archer, like his skill from the goddess, who is what the vampires pray, is that he could never miss his target. So he becomes Zoe's warrior and guardian, and he really just dedicates his whole life to her. Aphrodite starts off in the very first book as like the bitchy bully girl, like popular bitch in the first book, but then as she becomes, throughout the series, she develops the character. She's probably one of the characters that develop the most in these books. I absolutely love her. She's one of my favourite characters. Her and Zoe actually become quite good friends. She actually becomes human and just has visions which help Zoe and help the gang get out of like issues. Nefriet, or Nefriet, however you want to pronounce the name, is the high priestess of the school, but she starts off being really nice to Zoe and like everything, and then slowly Zoe begins to notice that she's bad and she's a bad character and she's causing all these issues because she's actually working with darkness instead of light, because the vampires go towards the light because they're of their goddess called Nyx or Nyx, and they're on the light side of light, and then there's something called the side of darkness as well, which is where Nefriet's going, and that's all where the darkness and light comes, and she absolutely hates Zoe. She just wants Zoe dead. Colonna is a immortal that fell from the heavens from their goddess Nyx and then became really mean, and he raped and everything. All his children are the Ravenlockers, which are half birds, half humans, and Rephium is one that Stevie Ray gets with, and he's the only one that can properly speak, and he actually becomes human later on because the goddess grants him this thing because he chooses light and wants to redeem himself, and he apologises and everything. But Colonna is obsessed with Zoe because Zoe is like is something to do with Aya, who trapped him in the ground, and he's like obsessed with and in love with Aya, but actually he's in love with Nyx, the goddess. It's all really confusing, but it's really good. I really recommend this series. They have other ones out as well. They've got like short novels out, which I haven't read yet. I think it's got 4 of them, and then they've got the Fledgling Handbook, and they've also got another like after one called The Other World of the House of the Night or something, which I haven't got because I'm not sure if I want to get it because I've heard mixed reviews. Apparently it's just like a zombie version of, I don't know, vampires or something, I don't know. I read reviews and some people said it was good, some people seem to be not, and I was like, I don't want to ruin such a good series by reading something bad, and I don't want to find out that Zoe and Stark or whatever, something bad happens to Stark, because I love him and it ended with him being good. It ended with all the characters being good. Some of the characters have an affinity to elements. Zoe can control all 5 elements and in her circle or a gang of friends all have different ones. So Stevie Ray has earth, then Aaron has water, Shani has fire, Damien has air, and they can control them. It's really good. I could tell you more about them, but I don't want to tell you about the story or anything, because I think you need to read it. If you like vampire books, you need to read the series for the story, basically. And I don't want to make it so long because I could tell you so much about it. And I think if I tell you about the story, I think I could ruin it for you, because there were parts in it that I would want to tell you, but it kind of makes me like, oh my god, when I was reading it. One thing I want to say is, by like probably the book 11 and 12, this one, they started to have too many points of views, and it just got a bit confusing, because one minute you were like in Zoe's point of view, and then you were in someone else's, and it was like boom, 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 too many point of views. And also there's sometimes that they're being like, they call Zoe Zoe, and then it'll be in the same sentence Z, and I kind of think they just got lazy writing Zoe. Like Z was Zoe's nickname, but I think they just started getting a bit lazy, especially near the end bit, because it'll be like 1 second there's Zoe, next second there's Z. And even in the point of views, I think their point of views got a bit confusing. You could have been in Zoe's point of view, and then she would start talking about herself like it was someone else's point of view, but it was still meant to be her point of view. I need to burp. Oh, excuse me, too much talking. And also they started, especially this last one, they had a mix-up where they had a character say that he was going to stay and do something whilst the rest of the gang went and done something else, but then he was with the rest of the gang when they went to do something else, so he was in 2 places at once, basically. I think they forgot that they said that he was going to stay there, and then all of a sudden he was over there, kind of thing. And there was a few like grammar mistakes in the last one, and like spelling mistakes, and little mistakes in the final book, which weren't isn't bad, doesn't affect the story, but it would really annoy me, because I'm always like one of those people that, if you have got the people are gonna like, you've got the publicists, you've got the people that read through the books before you send them out, and there's 2 people writing this, like the mistakes could have been avoided. I feel like they rushed this one, but I seriously love the series. I'm not going to talk about it anymore. I actually even did a painting to do with this series, if I can find it. This was my painting inspired by the series, because the girl, when they're vampires, when they first become the fledgling, they get marked, they get a crescent moon, and then when they become a full vampire, they get like tattoos on their faces. However, Zoe seems to just constantly get tattoos every time she does something good. The goddess gives her another tattoo, and when I got to it, she'd just got them down to her shoulder, but by the end of it, she had them all down her back, her waist, her hands. She was like covered in these tattoos, and she has a fluffy ginger cat called Nala, so I painted that because it inspired me of that. So the final book that I read, and then I can shut up, is Around the World in 80 Days by Jules Verne. I love Jules Verne. I absolutely love Journey to the Centre of Earth, one of my favourite Jules Verne books. But I think it probably is one of the most well-known ones, which is why people probably like it. But I also like the Moon one. Where is it? From the Earth to the Moon. I really enjoy as well. So this one is Around the World in 80 Days. It's a classic adventure novel. The story starts in London on the 2nd of October 1872. Phileas Fogg is a wealthy, solitary man with regular habits who fires his former valet for getting wrong the temperature of his shaving water by 2 degrees. He hires Passepartout, I just started calling him Passy because I couldn't work out how to pronounce his name properly, as a replacement. Later that day at the Reform Club, he gets involved in an argument over an article in the Daily Telegraph stating that, with the opening of a new railway section in India, it is now possible to travel around the world in 80 days. The technological innovations of the 19th century had opened the possibility of a more rapid circumnavigation than ever before, and the prospect fascinated Verne and his readership. The exciting, if now dated, adventure of Fogg and Pussy, which resulted, will entertain modern readers as much as it did their ones. I really enjoyed this. I gave this a 7 out of 10. It's a nice, easy book to read, and basically he puts a wager that he will make it around the world in 80 days, and the guys from the Reform Club are like, no, you're not going to be able to do it, so they bet £20,000. He actually does it in 77 days, I think, because he forgot about the time difference. It didn't like register about time differences, and he got in London earlier than he thought. A detective follows him around the world because he thinks that Fogg is a criminal who's stolen from the bank, and there's things that just stop, like make him have delays. Train rail isn't completed. They rescue a lady from getting killed and bring her around. They miss the ship, and it's just like one thing after another happens, but he still manages to do it. And it's a really good book. I really enjoyed it. I highly recommend it. If you like Jules Verne, and you haven't read this one, read it. It makes you wonder, though, part of me is like, I wonder if I could do it around the world in 80 days, but clearly with all the technology now, my planes would be able to. But it'd be fun to try and do it the same route that he does. I think people did do it, like to start with. I think it says on the back. But yeah, it's a really good book. Recommend it. And there we go. I'm thirsty now. I'm hungry. I've spoken for way too much. Hopefully you understood what I was saying, because I know I was talking quickly at some. Like I said, I'm trying to not make these as long, but it's hard to, and I really want to talk to people about the books that I read, and no one really pays attention to me, which is why I do these videos. One of the reasons I do these videos, and I just like recommending books and everything. I said if I could talk about House of Night ones properly and give you more information about them, about ruin them, I would, but I feel like I would tell something that would ruin the story, so I'm not going to. I loved them. They're the kind of book that I'd read again. To read next, this is the shelves of books that I've got left to read. So I haven't got that many. So if there's a book that you recommend me, let me know in the comments below, because I'm still in lockdown for another few months probably from sounds of work. I'm not going back to work for a while, so I'm going to need plenty of books, and by the looks of it, I ain't got enough to last. So if there's a book that you really enjoy and you want me to read, let me know in the comments below and I'll check it out. Thank you for watching. If you got this far, well done. Have a cookie. Hope you enjoyed it, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I put up videos as and when now. I usually do Wednesdays and Sundays, but at the moment it's just as and when I can remember, because, you know, lockdown, life, my brain's a bit of a puddle. And yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you have a great morning, afternoon, and whatever time of day. Hope you're happy and smiling, because that's the most important thing. And don't forget to stay safe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!